good afternoon and welcome to this session on OutSystems 11, Product Evolution. For the next 40 minutes, I'll be sharing with you the recent and upcoming evolution on the OutSystems 11 product line, and also tell you a bit about how we think about that, what are our priorities, what are the goals that we're trying to achieve. Before that, let me just make a small parenthesis. So some of you may have watched a previous presentation from Ricardo, where he started saying, I started off as a developer and then moved to product management. And I was listening to that and thinking, well, I'm a bit of an imposter here because my development career has been quite short. A few months full-time, a couple of years in sidekick projects. However, thinking about that, I do share a number of things, I believe, with all of you. And it's important for me to share those and to tell you how those will influence the outcome that I want out of this presentation. Obviously, I love learning about technology and have that rewarding feeling when it just works. But more than that, I love how technology transforms the world, how it transforms businesses, people, and even society. And throughout my career, my goal has been to help that transformation by learning technology and by seeing how it can be improved to really help that effect. At OutSystems, the way I see it, we are building tools that help you deliver those solutions and transform your business and the people that use the applications that you build. So this is, I believe, our shared goal. And as I work in OutSystems 11 product management, this is really what I want to do. I want to give you the best tools that you can have so that you can transform the lives of your users, a small bit at a time, sometimes. So here's what I expect out of this presentation. I want, of course, to pass you some ideas of new product capabilities that you might be able to use today or tomorrow in your workplace. That's already a good outcome. An even better outcome, if I can dream about it, or ask for it, better said, is that this discussion sparks some ideas on you on what other things we should do to evolve OutSystems 11 going forward. And the ideal outcome is that you note down those ideas and come and discuss it with us today, tomorrow, and through all the other different channels that you are used to with OutSystems. Do we have a deal? Great. So a bit of context on OutSystems 11. Today, and even before that, you've been hearing a lot about ODC and about all the great technology that we are bringing in that product line, really disruptive and modern technology. That is true, and I'm also, as any OutSystemer or OutSystems community member, I'm excited about the technology. But it's fair to say as well, to recognize that the overwhelming majority of our customers, of our applications, of our developers, are working in OutSystems 11. In fact, if you look at the numbers, we're talking about more than 200,000 applications being published per day. More than 50,000 applications being staged to production per month. With in very interesting agility, 3 days of lead time for change, and touching many end users. For those who heard the keynote this morning by Paulo, we talked about 50 million, so my numbers were a bit outdated. I'm sorry for that slight mismatch. But more than the numbers, what really drives us, what really inspires us, is the actual customers using OutSystems. So customers like Intel, a major operator in South America, $2 billion revenue, 7,000 employees, more importantly, more than 100 developers on OutSystems alone, created a portfolio of 24 applications and serving 2 million of end users. This is already an important scale and one that we are very proud of, as it represents the concept of high-performance low-code that OutSystems embodies. But we have even more than that, with Western Union serving even more customers, more end users, and that they recreated their next-generation digital banking services in only 11 months. But that was faster than they did before, twice as fast, and with less people, a lot less front-end developers, and more importantly, even so, is the agility they got. So they went from a release cadence of every 6 weeks to 2 times a week. Changes in 2 days instead of 1 month. So this is the kind of customers that inspire us to keep evolving OutSystems 11. Why? Well, again, many of you are interested in ODC, but you don't come to your CTO or your CFO and say, here's an idea, I'll just change everything from OutSystems 11 to ODC overnight, and it will take time and cost money, but it doesn't matter, I want to do it. It's just fun. It doesn't happen like that, right? So the more that you have invested as a customer in OutSystems, the bigger your portfolio, the more developers you have, the more careful that you typically are about this migration project. And so we want to remove all that anxiety by keep evolving OutSystems towards the needs specifically of these customers for whom the transition is a very decent idea in the future. And give you all the time in the world that you need. So thinking about these customers, what are our priorities for development? What are they telling us that we should really be doing in order to make their lives easier? And so, again, going back to the beginning of my presentation, accelerate that pace of transformation in the business and in the users through technology. And it's really about the challenges that are normal to any software development at scale. These challenges are not really specific at OutSystems, for OutSystems, sorry. It's about when you scale, it's hard to keep that agility. It's one thing to have one team developing independently and putting away new features in the end of end users. It's a different thing when multiple teams have to work together, minimize dependencies, sort them out when they happen, and still keep churning new features out to end users. Security and quality, well, these are not specific to scale, right? These are problems or challenges that you need to meet, whatever the size of your application. But as you scale the application, as you make the architecture more and more complex, as you bring in more and more developers, keeping those levels of security and quality at scale becomes an extra challenge. Okay, so these are the problems that we need to consider. Where are we to start with? Well, OutSystems already gives you, as all of you know, all the ones that are a decent amount of experience in OutSystems, will know these magic powers. When we talk about agility, the capability we have forever of safe change with impact analysis gives you really that peace of mind of working with minimum disruption to the work of other teams. Our analysis of the application architecture in AM and the Studio helps you to make sure that that connection between all the applications and models and teams is well designed and that your application architecture is sound. If we look at security, well, we have a proper developer governance model, so only the people who have the right permissions can do the most disruptive things to your applications, and especially to those in production. We have a visual programming model that incorporates automatically the security features as we translate from the visual model to the generated code. So that's one less source of problems in security compared to traditional technologies. And more interesting than that, it's not only about the current moment, is if a new security threat comes along, we can simply incorporate that logic into our code generation, and you get that protection for free without having to go through all the pieces of code in your portfolio and change that behavior. In terms of quality, again, visual programming makes it much easier for developers to understand the code that they're developing and also the code that others developed for them. And so any changes become much less error-prone than in traditional coding. Going back to AM at the Studio, our analysis engine through AI, through our patented technology, really gives you those insights on code quality and maintainability that improve the overall quality of your portfolio. So we have a lot of magic powers already on the challenges that affect development at scale: agility, security, and quality. Still, we believe that we can do more, and we are investing in improving further these attributes of OutSystems. So let me give you then a couple of capabilities, again, either recent or that are about to be released on each of those directions. Starting with agility. We understand that OutSystems, being an amazing development tool, is not the only tool in your company, right? So the more you go into mission-critical applications, the more that you'll find scenarios where OutSystems integrates with other applications, and not only integrates with other applications, if there is a problem, be it a performance problem or a functional issue, then for sure you need to combine people from different teams using different technologies to do that. And we all know that that's harder to do than when you're within your own team and within your realm of comfortable technology. The way that the market solves that problem is by offsetting that layer of troubleshooting to specialized application performance management tools. And so we are facilitating that integration with our upcoming OutSystems log streaming capability, where we'll be able to ship all the application logs from OutSystems platform through a standard OpenTelemetry to one of the market-leading application performance management tools. With this, those complex issues of troubleshooting where both OutSystems and other technologies are involved, they can be dealt with one of these tools. And you can use them furthermore also to perform correlation and proactive monitoring of your capabilities. So you can think of this as giving you an extra way to partner inside your company, an extra partnership between the OutSystems development team and the other teams in the IT department. In this slide, you have the logos and the names of the 5 market leaders in application performance management, to which we are integrating. Well, the core of the integration is simple, it's a standard, it just works, but we're going beyond that and giving you guidelines and documentation to make sure that you don't get lost in that process. The actual process is quite simple. On the OutSystems side, it's really a wizard, a couple of properties, and you're done. When I say you're done, it means that the logs start to be streamed onto the third-party application performance management tool. The interesting part, where you can apply your creativity and discuss with your colleagues, is where you go use that tool to create the dashboards and the information that you need that are most relevant to you in your own scenario. And so this will be an example of the kind of dashboards that you can build with this integration. Again, this is totally outside OutSystems, but giving you all the information that is being exported from OutSystems. So this was about agility. Let me go to security. The first challenge that I'll tell you about is about disaster recovery. As many of you will know, OutSystems Cloud has a built-in disaster recovery capability that is very convenient. So if a data center of AWS explodes or gets permanently compromised in some way, the disaster recovery solution of OutSystems can automatically and very quickly recover servers for your end users. That's a popular capability that addresses overwhelmingly, 90% of the requirements of our customers. However, for some users, some customers, they tell us, well, we live in a very tightly regulated environment. We know that AWS data centers are relatively close to each other. The maximum distance is 100 kilometers. And that's not enough for a regulation. Or they can tell us, well, you know what, I know that this has never happened, right? We never had even a complete data center going down, much less all the data centers in the region going down at the same time. So the likelihood of that happening is low. But to us, the financial impact will be so huge that we want to be protected against that risk. That is worth, that insurance is worth buying for us. And so to address those requirements, we are adding the cross-region disaster recovery capability. So it's an automated process that protects both your applications and your data, both in production and development. And as often happens in these complex disaster recovery scenarios, the actual testing and proving that it works is also a very important component. So we are giving you that self-service capability to do the disaster recovery tests when you want, as you want. So this is the highlight of what you'll get. Let me walk you through how it works in practice. These are the basic 6 steps that apply both to an actual failover in production, if it ever is needed, or to the test scenario. Let's start with the production for the sake of explanation. Of course, there's this initial step of activation of the capability, so basically signing a purchase order and get the provision started. We will then automatically start a regular backup routine, so where your data is automatically copied every couple hours to the remote region of your choice. And when a disaster does occur, a person will trigger the failover. This failover process, what it does is to trigger the automatic rebuild of all the infrastructure, all the OutSystems infrastructure in a different region. So databases, front ends, all that stuff. The whole process of rebuilding is totally automated. At the end of the process, we'll give you a notification, your infrastructure is ready, so just publish your applications and you're ready to go. You're ready to provide service to your end users. Again, this was the flow for production. If you're talking about a DR test scenario, it's pretty much the same thing. The difference is that the failover is a click of a button in a console that you can access directly. So this means that when you are doing that coordinated disaster recovery test with all the other applications that are not OutSystems that may be in your portfolio, you can schedule ahead of time and coordinate all those tests together. Make sure that applications continue to work together when the networking changes, when you're operating in a different region, and that networking itself is also okay. So for any of you that may have been involved in a disaster recovery project until today, I can tell you this will be by far the easiest, smoothest disaster recovery project that you have been involved. Still on security, another highlight that I would like to make is our recent investments in authentication. You're seeing from OutSystems more and more out-of-the-box integration with authentication options using standards and no development effort. So we've added a few months back the OpenID Connect integration to our consoles that work with a myriad of identity providers supporting this standard protocol. And furthermore, as we integrated IAM into Studio authentication with the consoles, you can also leverage this OpenID Connect integration in AI Meta Studio authentication as well. So that was from the point of view of developers and privileged users. From the point of view of end users, we also added recently the out-of-the-box SAML authentication for end users of mobile apps. So again, a continuous investment of OutSystems in compliance and security. Static code analysis. This is something that it's one of those cases where it will be meaningless to a bunch of folks and very interesting for maybe a smaller bunch. This is about companies who, before adopting low code, they had this policy where all applications that are deployed to production need to be vetted through static code analysis with the tools that they already selected. Vercode, Fortify, checkmarks, whatnot. And so this process was a bit manual so far, and what we are introducing, it's about to go GA as well, is APIs so that you can access the generated source code in C#, JavaScript, whatnot, so that you can submit that generated source code to the static code analysis tools that you already have in-house and give you that check, that compliance check against the policies that you may have. What we expect is for customers to use those APIs and integrate in their CI/CD processes using Jenkins, Azure DevOps, their favorite tools for that purpose. And again, we'll also give you the guidance on how to do that. In the area of quality, you know, as I alluded to already in this presentation, that our not-so-secret weapon is AI Meta Studio with all the findings and recommendations that it provides to OutSystems developers. We've had a continuous improvement of AI Meta Studio, as we expect to continue to have. So these are just some of the patterns that we launched recently. Continue to watch out for potential security issues with access to system entities through the UI that may have not been enough protected, or the other pattern listed on the screen, the detection of unused code that really takes away that weight from your applications and makes maintenance and refactoring your applications much more convenient. So these patterns, we continue to evolve. You should expect more of these going forward. But we're doing more than just patterns and really taking advantage of all the components that we own and manage in the development process, and taking advantage of that integration to give you an extra level of value. This is another recent development in AI Meta Studio, where we have the view per team. So as a team lead, I can zoom in on the applications that my team develops. And among all the findings that you can find in AI Meta Studio, one of them is about checking if there are strongly coupled dependencies with other teams. So you can find those strong couples, list them, and decide what to do with them. Is this a problem or not? This is a decision that you will have to take based on the knowledge of your system. If the strong dependency is for a library, for a concept that is generic enough, that is guaranteed to never change within your application, then the strong coupling is okay. If it is something where you can see array changes coming up, a complicated discussion with other teams as you try to evolve functionality in sidestep, then it's a problem and you should be fixing it. Again, we are using all the concepts that we have about, all the knowledge and data that we have about the development process to give you this high-level finding on your application. Even more, we want to make AI Studio every time better tool to manage technical debt. And so this is a capability that's about to go GA as well, that I try to represent on the slide based on the 4 pillars of quality that AI Meta Studio reports on: security, architecture, maintenance, and performance. As you know, if you use the tool, AI Meta Studio provides you with a tech debt score for the overall portfolio, for applications, for modules. And that tech debt score represents the average relative importance of these 4 pillars to different customers. Now, you all know the problem with averages, right? It works for me, it doesn't necessarily work for you. And so, what we're doing is giving you the customization capability so that you can say which of these pillars is more important to you in your current context. As an example, are the applications you're building now with OutSystems looking after very sensitive data or not really? How important is security right now? What is the number of users that your application services? Is it hundreds or millions? Then performance becomes more or less important. So you can play with these weights so that the tech debt score that ONE Studio provides is really useful to guide your investments in terms of application evolution and maintenance and refactoring. To be fair, I've kind of simplified the slide. The level of customization we provide, it goes a level deeper than this. So it's not only about saying if security has a bigger weight than architecture or maintenance, but it goes down to each possible pattern or a type of finding that ONE Studio can provide. So you have full flexibility on how to leverage ONE Studio to manage your tech debt the most efficient way possible. And with this, I've covered the overview of the main priorities for OutSystems development, right? Agility at scale, security, and quality also at scale. But it will be fair to say that we are, even though these are priorities, these are not all that we do. And in fact, this year has been a busy year. First of all, from your side, with 150,000 new live applications in production, but also from our side. And you can see the number of product updates, the number of software releases, but these are just numbers, right? The thing is, okay, what do those numbers mean for you? And what they mean is the continued evolution of the value proposition that you are used to from OutSystems. Starting with making the processes more efficient. So version upgrades are published in whole factories. These are things that may take hours. This slide represents the kind of time compression that we put on this simple process so that it becomes simpler for you to want to upgrade OutSystems platform or to run those full solution publishes if your factories work like that. So to help you interpret the chart, so the green line represents the upgrades under 1 hour. 50% of the cases move down to 64. If you look at if you compare the 90% threshold in the top chart and the bottom chart, you can see how it has compressed the time. And even more so for those 10% of the larger factories represented in that 90 to 100% bar that really got shrinked. So this is about getting you productivity and more productivity and take away some of the frustration that you can have for having to wait long hours. So just pure technical optimization with no capabilities. That's one area. Could provide more examples. Let me go to developer experience. A number of OutSystems UI components. Again, a logic of continuous delivery of value, where the new components are probably have the right UI, the right experience that you wanted for your next application. And so being an out-of-the-box component, it becomes a drag-and-drop thing rather than a complex customization using JavaScript or other technologies rather than low-code. So these are a sample of the recent components that we had added in OutSystems UI. Still on the topic of making development easier and more productive, the recent revamp of our charts components. So yes, you could build already charts in low code, But what we are seeing is there were a lot of scenarios where users required more advanced UI. You had to customize those shards. It had to be done in JavaScript. So with the recent experience, we are now having an array of customization options directly in low code, so that this process becomes much easier and you can create those rich experiences with shards much faster than before. Continuing on the path to make low code more expressive and reducing the need for more traditional technologies, we also have been completing the range of use cases covered by REST integration. So an example here is the multi-party data sources in third-party REST interfaces, and we are now bringing those service descriptions into low code and configuring in Service Studio with a number of properties. So again, comparing this to creating this custom integration in C#, this is a dramatic leap in productivity and ease of use. The same would apply for the patch verb. So this is about exposing REST, and in some scenarios where you have to create that REST exposure to meet a predefined pattern of integration of a third-party software, some of those require that patch verb to be available, where you can update just a subset of the attributes of a record of an entity, and now you can do that in low code rather than having to do in a more traditional technology. So a lot of effort in making development easier and more productive, but also a bit of love for the more advanced developers. A few months ago, we've launched this OutSystems UI GitHub repository, where any developer that has those skills can contribute to OutSystems UI and help us to evolve. And we are very happy to share that we have had a number of contributions already from the community, and that's really how to create product together. That's amazing. It's even beyond just sharing the requirements, but actually doing the code. So far, I've told you what are the priorities of development for OutSystems 11, solving the problems of software development at scale even better, every time better, be it agility, security, and quality. I've also told you about the constant product evolution that we're doing, just pursuing the traditional attributes and advantages of OutSystems development, making development easier, getting more power into the hands of advanced developers, and just making the whole experience more performant. This, I hope, should give you the confidence that you can and should continue to develop in OutSystems 11 for the number of years to come. Still, again, the question that we get is, okay, but sometime, I don't know if it's next year, a couple of years, I don't know, sometime I should consider, or at least evaluate, moving to ODC. So what is OutSystems doing for the migration when that comes? Our strategy for the moment is to create all the kind of tools that you need to do a successful migration. Document best practices, create tools to migrate applications and data, give you the best advice on how to better plan that project. In terms of timeline, what you should expect from us is that all these deliverables for migration, they will target an ever-incrementing set of customer scenarios. So in a few months from now, we'll be ready. We'll have all of these things, documentation tools and planning guidance for simple applications. And then we'll eventually continue to improve these tools and practices so that we can target more complex applications and, in the future, all of OutSystems 11 applications, so that you can have that comfort that you can continue to develop in OutSystems 11. Now, this timeline here represents OutSystems readiness. Again, the ball is on your side. right? It's up to you to decide when you should consider ODC. So there's a constraint, of course. We advise you to wait for our migration kit to be ready for your scenario to make that process more productive. But once you are ready, it's up to you to decide when to do it. So the actual migration, it can be right after we are ready, or many months or quarters into the future. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Again, let me go back to the beginning. We are here I'm leading the OutSystems 11 product management team for the last few years, always with the purpose of transforming businesses and people's life through you, and so giving you the tools that you need to succeed. So we want to keep this spirit of working together as one team with us and you, with ever-expanding product capabilities, application portfolios, and continue to have happy customers. So thank you all for all your work with OutSystems 11.